Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, welcome everybody. It's the Phil Friedman Outdoors radio show. It's the surf fishing, float tubing, kayaking, the Surf Report here on a beautiful Monday, live from our Surfside studios in beautiful Surfside, California. Man, it feels like a summer day today. It is absolutely beautiful, and I'm so glad you're taking time out of your busy day to spend here with Phil Friedman Outdoors Radio every single day, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Get ready for another great show right now. And I am Phil Friedman. It is great to be back with you all again, man. What a power-packed show we've got for you now. If you go to my Facebook page, to Phil Friedman, and take a look, you'll see some of the giant perch that are being taken in the Santa Monica Bay. My good friend Edward Halterman called me over there today and said, you just got to come by and give this a try. And I'm so happy I did it. Magnificent, big perch biting in the Santa Monica Bay. Edward Halterman will be joining us, and I'm looking forward to that to talk to you. But, you know, I thought you might find it interesting to know how I met Edward. And I really didn't know Edward from anybody at one point in time. But during the time when I was going through a real tough time, my father had just passed away, and my dad lived with me for, you know, about the last 10 years of his life. And, of course, my wife Ruth and I took care of him. We did all his diabetic medicines and everything else. And it was a really low point in my life, as I know many of you have gone through some of the same thing. And one day, there's a knock at my front door, and here's a guy that I'd never met before, Edward Halterman, who said, hey, Phil, I got something for you that I'd like to give you. And he was standing there with this framed Joe Montana jersey signed. He knew I was a big Notre Dame fan. And, man, I'll tell you, it was a special, special thing that he did. And my dad was a huge Notre Dame fan and, of course, brought me up that way. So it was just one of those things. And Edward and I have maintained a friendship ever since that time. And, you know, he just keeps proving himself as a really, really great guy. So fun times down there with Halterman. And don't forget about our big mega seminar where you'll be able to meet Edward Halterman, the guy that's lighting the Santa Monica Bay on fire right now with his techniques. And he's new to the surf fishing game, but, man, this guy's a quick study, and he's been fishing sea bass and yellows and all that stuff for many, many years. Together we've worked, and I'll tell you, Edward brings a whole different technique, and I have a newfound respect for watching how hard it is he works in terms of gathering the bait, in terms of looking where to fish, in terms of surveying the area, in terms of his tackle, in terms of what he does when he's there. And he'll be sharing all of that and so much more with me this Thursday night in a free seminar at 7:30, the China Tea House in beautiful Torrance, California. And we'll see you this Thursday night. Hey, I got to tell you, my good buddy Edward Halterman, and the PFO expert in surf fishing, and he's become that really quickly, was down there around the El Segundo area again on Sunday, and we talked to him right after he made another spectacular catch. On the line now is my good friend Edward Halterman. Edward, welcome to the Phil Friedman Outdoors radio show.
Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. It was so good to see. I can't thank you enough for all the hard work, man. I mean, I show up, and you've got a rod rigged up for me. You've got bait that you struggle all night long to make. You've already surveyed the area. You pretty much say cast there, and I get a 2.1-pound fish. And then a little bit, well, actually, as I said to you, Edward, I got to get out of here. I got to go do a show. This is my last bait. I hook a fish. I start to fight this thing. You look at me because you see the bend in the rod. You see the fish really pulling. And I'm telling you, it hurts as bad as any sea bass or yellow. I don't know how big it was, but I'm telling you, it was truly a big fish. And I'm still feeling like crap over that thing. What do you think, man? That was a nice fish there at the end that I lost.
Yeah, just judging by the way it was pulling, and I saw a little bit of the back, and I know you got a better look at it than I did, but I'm going to say that was probably about a 3.7 or a 3.8. I mean, that was a trophy beast, dude. It was a trophy fish, man. And, yeah, I mean, they're you know, and as you saw, I mean, you know, that was 12-pound with 25-pound leader, but it was the 12 that broke, and those fish, you know, even though they're 3 to 4 pounds, I mean, that pressure of the surge and everything else makes that a 12 to 15-pound fish.
I tried to drop my rod tip. I dropped it and gave it to him because the surge was going out. And, you drop your rod tip, and it still popped, man. It broke the line. It blew me away because right before that I caught a 2.1-pounder, and it didn't come close to breaking.
Yeah, it's those. I'm telling you, dude, there are some big fish patrol in there. I mean, up the beach there, when I ran down to the other spot, I had one that was about a 3.3, and I did everything right. I mean, I didn't actually pull too hard, and I still popped the hook. Sometimes they have, if you hook them in the corner of that jaw, it's paper. Same as every other fish, man. You hook them in that bad spot there, man, and it doesn't take much to pull the hook on them. So, but yeah, dude, I mean, when we kind of walked off the beach, I was like, yeah, it was a slow day. We only ended up with 10 fish. But then I thought about all the bites we had, and the way they were biting was totally different today. I mean, yeah, we hooked our fish and we fought them and we landed them, but for the amount of bites, a lot of those bites we got were really finicky. I mean, almost sea bassy. It was so weird, so.
It was. And for everybody out there, we're fishing the El Segundo area, right in the beach, a little bit before the high tide came in there, fishing the Sidewinder crabs. Man, I'm telling you, this surf fishing thing is the best.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's awesome, man. I mean, we can go to the main office, which is down on the beach, and then go back to the regular office.
Exactly. And it felt like summertime today, didn't it?
Yeah, I was kind of bummed, man, that I had my waders on, man. I was like running all over the place, and then I got my I got the basically the warmers underneath that snowboarding dudes wear that wicks the moisture away. But man, I was like sweating bullets today, man.
Oh, hey, I'll tell you something funny. When we first pulled up, Scott had shorts on, and he was, yelling at me, "Why didn't you bring shorts? You're in your Levi's. What are you going to do? You're going to get all wet." And so there was a police officer and a lifeguard right there parked, and I go, "I'm going to fish in my underwear." And he goes, "Don't do that." And I go, "I'm fishing in my damn underwear. They don't look that bad." So I started taking my pants off, and I had my swim trunks underneath. Well, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. He thought the cops were going to come and arrest me for indecent exposure.
That's awesome, man.
I love screwing with him. Hey, let's get into how people can catch these things. How important are the Sidewinder crabs? I saw it work today firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, and I can't pronounce the gentleman's name. You're much better, the guy that was fishing down away from it.
Amador.
Yeah,
Amador
cool.
Ballesteros.
Yeah, he was, he was banging him on that, I don't think he was using a double hook, but I think he was using a single hook with the pyramid. And he was banging them on those, I think they're called lugworms or sandworms or whatever the heck those things were.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he was banging them. I saw that, man. He was all over those things. Man, that guy, he seriously was on fire himself, having a great time. Oh,
yeah. He was definitely spanking them, and he definitely pulled in a lot of fish there and fishing that rig, but like I said, when I was down on the beach, I just can't do that rig, man. It's just, and basically.
Describe the rig there. Tell everybody what rig you're talking about.
Yeah, well, there's one called the double rig, and that's basically you use a couple three-way swivels, and you just got to put maybe like a 6-inch leader, and then you have to make it, leave space in between because otherwise the baits could potentially wrap. So you want to have like a 3-inch gap in between those baits, and then you want to have a leader down below and make sure that same lower rig hook, you have to leave the 3 inches. If you stretch that hook down towards where you'd put your pyramid sinker, you want to have space there as well. And then the upper swivel that you tie your line to, same principle. The upper hook, you want to make that to where you still have 3 inches if you stretch it all the way to the top where the other swivel will go. So there's always a gap, so there's no way that it can really get tangled up. I mean, it still can. It's the surf, things happen, but that's what you want. And basically, you cast out and you stick it in the rod holder, and basically when the fish bites, the pyramid will kind of whip the freaking hook into his mouth. It basically sets the hook for you. It's a great way to, you saw that guy was pulling in one after another, but for what I do, for me, I like to feel it. I like to feel the bait washing around. I like to feel when it drops in a hole or whatever, and yeah, I like that whole thing. And then when you're bit, I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, you saw how cool that is with a conventional today, man. It's pretty
yeah.
big.
Well, and like I told you, and you thought it was a good analogy, it's the difference between throwing a bait in an albacore stop and getting a bite on the troll.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a whole different thing. Trolling, I mean, at this point in my life, trolling sucks. I'm not into it, I'd rather, somebody yells hook up, I want to find a good hot bait, toss it out there, and get bit on the slide. And it's kind of the same thing. When you're fishing the Carolina rig, there's a little bit more finesse involved.
Oh, yeah, completely, dude, yeah. Yeah, and like I said, anybody that wants to use that rig, hey, I'm all for you and enjoy it. Your analogy was perfect, but I even would go further, and it reminds me of like when I used to fish the river in Indiana. So river fishing, dude. No, to each his own, bro, and I'm not making fun of anybody or anything. I mean, it's great.
No, hey. Dude, that guy, I mean, having said what we're both saying, and I agree with you, having said that, looking at Amador and his wife today, they were in heaven, and they were having a ball. Yeah. And, man, the fish tacos are going to be flowing at his place this afternoon.
Oh, yeah, and then, then the other part of that, too, is the baits he was using, that opens up the door for the yellowfin croaker, which he was catching, too, maybe even a possible corbina, although I don't know what his line size was. But even his buddy a couple days ago, I don't know if he told you about it, but he caught a real big corbina down there. So I'd assume they're probably using that same bait or mussel or something like that. But, when you use the Sidewinder, basically there's only two things you're going to catch, to my knowledge. That's a barred surfperch, surf crappie, a.k.a., or you can get like a shovel-nose shark, which we saw Bob get. And then I think, today, I even had one on for a few seconds because I lifted up the rod and it loaded up and I couldn't move it. So I'm thinking, God, if that was a big barred perch, I'll be really bummed out. But I just told myself, no, it was shovel nose.
Hey, watching you and studying what you were doing today, one of the most important things you can do is find those troughs, find those holes. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, that's 100%, dude. Yeah, right on the money. I mean, that's the deal. I mean, right at the end there where we were sitting, it was just totally deeper right there. And, I mean, you could see just basically the easiest way to tell somebody that really doesn't know how to read the signs when they go down there, just look for something that's out of the ordinary. I mean, that's the deal. I mean, just look, and if the waves are rolling over and then there's like a part of the wave in the middle that's not rolling over, that's a spot. Or if you come inside and you see water shooting up, that's the water launching. Usually it launches when it recedes back and it hits the backside of a trough or a hole. It'll kind of launch it up. And, kind of look for that kind of stuff. And just anything out of the ordinary. You see a V in the water, that's probably a riptide. You definitely want to fish that because it's going to swirl around. It's going to hold a lot of bait in there and different things that the fish like. You want to fish that. And then like I've shown you, those little tiny shells, I mean, if you see those, definitely fish in front of that because when you fillet some of those, man, you'll see that the gut is full of those little things. And I don't know what the point is. There's no meat in them. Or maybe there was at one point when they eat them. I don't know. But, almost every single one that I catch has those in it. So anytime I see those, I'll try to stop on those. I didn't really see any sand crabs today. So definitely if you see the V's, man, pull up right in front of them. Cast right there.
Dude, there was nobody on that beach where we were. I mean, there was me, you, Scott. There was another gentleman, I think, that was fly fishing. And then there was Amador by Esteros. And we had the whole thing to ourselves. And you could stay there a half hour, an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. Surf fishing is so convenient. It doesn't cost all that much, especially when you're a schmuck like me who shows up after his good friend Edward's been out doing the bait all night long. Man, I can't thank you enough for that. But, I mean, it's such a convenient thing. And I think at one time in your and my life, when we were catching 40 and 50 and 60-pound sea bass or big albacore and all that stuff, we probably scoffed at this and thought, perch in the surf? Give me a frickin' break, man. Really. And I'll tell you what, that fish I lost today hurts as bad as anything I've ever lost in my life. And I've lost some big fish that I've been on for a long, long time. But that thing hurt, and I'm telling you, this is so much fun, man. It really is.
Yeah, and that's what I told you when that happened. I just kind of looked at you and I go, man, that sucks. That's like losing a freaking sea bass, man. I was like, damn. You know, well, originally, you know, when I started doing this, I was that was part of my whole joke was, you know, barred surfperch. Those things are freaking surf crappies, man. You know, and I was kind of making a joke out of it. But then the joke ended up being that I like it so much, so the name kind of stuck, you know. And so, yeah, because I never in a million years would have thought I'd enjoy this as much as I do. It's just comical, man. It's so funny that I'm so into this, you know.
It's the best, and so are you. And this Thursday night, you and I will be over at the China Tea House in Torrance doing a seminar. We're going to do some Baja surf fishing, some SoCal surf fishing. Al will be there doing spear fishing. It should be great. You can meet all your fans that night. Bring your cards with you. And I can't thank you enough for just a great morning this morning and giving me great content for the show. I mean, I'm all jazzed up about surf fishing right now. Thank you so much, Edward.
Oh, hey, man. It was, you know, to share it with somebody that I care about makes it all the better, man.
Well, listen, I'll see you Thursday night, and if you start tempting me again, God knows I may get up tomorrow morning and jam down there again.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's probably going to even be better, to be honest with you, because it's going to...
Oh, here you go again. I'm going to kill you.
The tides, it's on the... I think today it came up like an inch, and then tomorrow it goes down like, I think, 4 or 5 inches, and now it's going to start to come down again. And, you know, my best bites have been when it's like right around between like I would say a 4.5 to a 3.5 is like my sweet spot. Once it gets in there, it's like, I mean, that's when I've had the sickest bites. And I don't know why that is. Maybe because the waves are, you know, less, and it's just, maybe it just doesn't pound the beach as hard. I think less is more with these things, man. I think the less, you know, you want some of it to create some of the whitewash and to lift the sand up and move the bait around. You definitely want it, but at the same time, you don't want those big ones that are just frickin' pounding. You know, bam, bam, the waves crashing. And, you know, we had a few of those in the morning when we first showed up, so that's why I'm thinking as we go forward these next 2 days, I think is going to be just absolutely pristine, man. I think it's going to be game on, so... I'll be down at the office getting some new clients in the bucket, man.
Edward Halterman, everybody, my good friend, down there treating us to a great surf fishing day. And you heard him. Get on down to El Segundo tomorrow and get on this thing. About 8, 9 in the morning should be perfect right before the high tide. If you don't have the Sidewinders, we did see the bloodworms working today. Ghost shrimp have been affected, but Sidewinders for sure are the best. Edward, great having you on the Phil Friedman Outdoors radio show.
Much love, my brother. Take care.
All right, Edward Halterman, man, did we have fun with him. And I'll remind you all to drop by the Phil Friedman Outdoors booth at the Fred Hall Show. We'll be doing live broadcasts there. You'll have an opportunity to win a trip for 4 to beautiful La Paz, Baja, California, absolutely free. Stop by and find out about that. Also, sign up for our GPS hotspots. We're going to have all the very latest for you private boaters, just a lot of fun. Talking youth fishing. Guys like Edward Halterman will be there sharing secrets about some fun surf fishing and so much more, all at the Phil Friedman Outdoors booth. It's going to be rocking and rolling at the Fred Hall Show, which starts March the 6th and runs through the 10th over there at the Long Beach Convention Center.